G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is a Vampire's 10mm submachine gun with bullets exploding for area damage and 90% reduced weight major and minor legendary effects respectively. So, not too much to say new about the 10mm submachine gun, but I do sometimes forget how shiny it is. Look how shiny that is. This thing's been polished. Why does the 10mm submachine gun look so shiny? Except for the stock. The stock is clashing with the nice color scheme on the rest of the weapon, but yeah, just looking at this thing, pretty good. Hardened receiver, stabilized long barrel and stock for recoil control, perforating magazine. I am aware that there is a drum magazine now, but it only gives you plus, I think, 15 more bullets to get 45 maximum, but I kind of prefer armor penetration anyway. We're going to augment that even more with a tank killer perk. We've got speed demon, so the reload speed should be fine. Anyway, so we're doing 50 damage with this off no perk spec'd into that. That is actually equivalent to a handmade rifle. Obviously, this is not spec'd either, not the bloodied legendary effect doing nothing here. And as you can tell, the damage per shot is the same, but this thing actually has better DPS because of that rate of fire. Very nice. LO is a little bit less accurate, which is to be expected of a shorter barrel submachine gun type thing. But regardless of that, let's go ahead and chuck some perks onto this. We'll skip over ground pounder for tank killer, like I said before, just to get that extra armor penetration to squeeze every bit of damage we can possibly get out of this, you know, short of Revenant and other ballistic block sort of things like that. And with all of those things there, 102 damage. And yes, we are doing slightly more, although I should probably add that this thing is explosive, so that's probably why we had the edge of damage slightly against the handmade there. Alrighty, so if you're new to the channel or just don't know what I do with Vampire's weapons specifically, what I do is I gate myself at around 20% so that Nerd Rage is open. I've also got all of that adrenal reaction adding into the damage as well. And by the way, that gives us 176 damage, which is really good. And since it's a Vampire's weapon, any health damage that I do take will be immediately healed off by this. I just gotta make sure that I do shoot people with it. That explosive element obviously makes it a little bit more difficult when it comes to extreme close quarters, so yeah, there's that. Also, this particular suit that I'm wearing, the Nuka Girl rocket suit, they actually patched this thing. There was a bug where the mid-drift textures would be fucked, but now they fixed it. So that's something that I complained about months ago, so months later, all of the weapon stuff that I complained about should be fixed, so we just have to wait, I suppose, going by that logic, I guess. Alrighty, so something to immediately piss me off. There's a goo pile out there, but that's a Reaver, so obviously whoever got there spawned low-level creatures, which is hilarious because they wouldn't have got enough XP out of that. Alright, so here's the deal. I've got a bunch of ghouls standing around. Something that I've been toying with in my live streams is using plasma grenades, and forgive me if I fuck any of the spawns here, but basically what I do is I try to target the grenades in vats, which I've completely fucking failed to do on this occasion, but then I'd shoot the grenades so they instantly go off. But I think with explosive weapons you can actually make the grenades go off anyway. You super can, so there's a little bit of a interesting thing about explosive weapons. I've got a little hidden utility there. If you've got a Grenadier perk as well, that'll be extremely potent, so you know, if you're actually doing those Grenadier builds in this game, you can... Hang on, how are you resisting my damage? There we go. Okay, that was obviously just a little bit of lag. But as you can tell... Oh, that's a sleeper. We're holding down the lines pretty good. And also is double XP, so we're getting all of this extra XP that we wouldn't get otherwise. And here they are, they're coming out. We've still got good hipfire accuracy, and we fucking killed ourselves because the cars have massive splash damage. Who would have thought that massive nuclear explosions would throw damage in every direction? Okay, that was just fucking sloppy, but ooh, and it charred the dispensing machines, both ice and Nuka-Cola. Let's just pretend that didn't happen and get back. What the fuck? Okay, apparently I've just triggered bugs all over the place, and thankfully... You're alright there, feral ghoul. You're just making love to the ground, are ya? Uh-huh. Okay. Should this... I don't think this is YouTube-friendly content, then. No, I'm gonna get kicked off YouTube. I'll have to do what MXR does and make videos pimping my girlfriend off. How embarrassing! How embarrassing! You're the biggest Fallout YouTuber on the platform, and basically you fucked your channel by showing lots of not safe for work content, even though YouTube said that was fuck me. Even though the guidelines say you can't do that shit. and then you just whine about it, start up Patreon and all that stuff. So it's been sloppy. It's been a sloppy start. Obviously, I haven't quite recovered from my 13-hour stint that I did playing with the new character that I ought to level up, which is now over level 50 with 1000 script, I think. So that one's right to go. My last character is my combat medic build. She's only a couple hundred script off where she needs to be, so possibly tomorrow or the day after I'll have for you another script farming video where I just blast a bunch of script at Murmur and hope we get good weapons. Alright, we can move on. Hopefully we can actually start playing well as well. Alrighty, it is time to take out the mutants. Did I show you my special before? 29 Perception allows us to hit with reasonably okay accuracy. That one is on the legendary side, so we'll target him first. And we aren't actually under Nerd Rage threshold, are we? No, we're not. Okay, so we're going to have to fix that in a second. But as we use this thing stealthily as possible and completely fail there, and... oh, we run out of AP. That's probably why. I really thought that would have regened faster. It certainly does on my other characters, but maybe I'm just used to playing as them. Yeah, if I had a couple more special points, there's Nerd Rage. See, I did that deliberately that time. But if I had a couple more special points, I'd definitely put him into Grim Reaper Sprint so I could easily get the action points back if I kill a thing in VATS, well, with a certain RNG element attached to it. But yeah, not too bad out of the explosive Vampire's 10mm sub. The recoil on it is still high, and I don't like aiming with it in third person. Normally if the iron sights are bad on a weapon, I'll opt to aim it with it in third person, but not on this thing. I don't like it all that much. Basically, aiming with this weapon sucks. So honestly, there's a good reason to chuck on Ground Pounder there, because the hipfire accuracy on this, you know, by default is pretty good. But if you chuck on the true, if you're really good with recoil control, you can chuck on the true stock and barrel and use Ground Pounder just to kill everything. But like I said before, I do prefer a little bit more armor penetration out of this, and if I can use it to squeeze, like, I don't know, perhaps 20 more damage out of it, and usually if those crits come in, I'm going to blow up. I'm just using all of the trucks to my advantage to little effect. That one had a missile launcher, so I'm glad he's dead. So that's kind of the limitations of the 10mm submachine gun, in that it's limited itself to a little bit of short range just by having that higher recoil, but obviously with recoil modifying attachments like stabilized and keen recoil control, which, you know, skill, you can actually make this weapon reach out further. So I actually don't mind the 10mm sub. Unfortunately, there are no sights for it. There isn't even like a front sight for it, which is really odd, despite, you know, that existing in Fallout 3 and New Vegas. So I feel like this one was a little bit rushed out the gate. So maybe that's why it's got its like recoil punch to it, because they didn't really get to I guess polish it enough. Although the weapon certainly looks polished though, so I guess they got that right. Alright, now our health is gated properly at 20%. Let's kill Swan. And he's done in 9 bullets. That's efficiency. Alrighty, so apparently we've got a bunch of under-leveled Mirelurks, what we're usually used to. There's the Queen already. She's already out and about. I don't know what's got her knickers in a knot, but she is definitely on the prowl today. And apparently there's nothing else around, so we might as well have a go at her now. Now, usually the 10mm submachine gun is not too great in VATS, namely because the lack of reflex sight to decrease the VATS AP usage per bullet, but also the rate of fire. That obviously uses up a lot of AP very, very quickly. So if you are using a vampire sub with heaps of agility like us, see 405 AP, so we can actually get pretty good burst with this, which makes it pretty good, especially for a crit spammy stealth commando build. So it does happen to actually get by without the use of a suppressor, which is pretty impressive for a weapon of this caliber, I suppose. Alrighty, so she's a bit foggy at the train yard smash today, but we'll see what we've got. Apparently commie bots, which are laughably easier to kill for a weapon like this, and you gave me a suppressor's bone hammer with, okay, that's actually my first bone hammer drop, but if it was actually a 2-star, I guarantee you that secondary legendary effect would be it'd be limb damage, that's for sure. Also, where are your panels? That one was walking around naked. Have some self-respect, would ya? And no, I'm not doing primal cuts. I don't want to run into any other players messing up my videos. I just want to be alone. Is that too much to ask? Is private servers too much to ask for Bethesda? Oh, quickly avoid that one. And yep, even though we don't get direct hits on them all the time, these guys don't have a particularly large health pool, so they're kind of easy to beat, to be honest. Their range attacks are pretty meh, but their melee punchy attacks are actually pretty strong. So yeah, they're not enemies I'd like to fight. I'm honestly thinking that they're kind of the most boring enemies in the game because they don't really offer a lot. I mean, you kind of think, why are they here? What are they doing? But then you're just like, well, they're annoying to fight because they don't particularly reward you very well with XP either. So honestly, it's kind of the worst thing I'd like seeing here. But for the sake of variety, Trainyard Smash has given us another nice set of victims today, and that is a Scorch Beast. We'll get to him in a second. Alrighty, so we're inside Moody's Plaza, and we're going to really hit the ground running this time when it comes to actually starting here. So we had 240 damage for a second. I think, yeah, that was Adrenaline at 60%. It wore off just in time, but it looks like we've pulled some spawns, so let's see how far we can go. Getting a casual 500 XP per Super Mutant kill. Obviously all of that. Oh, that was lucky. And I just had a thought. And this is why I've probably died so much. Serendipity. Yeah, I should probably put that on, eh? And especially in here, where I can get fucking wrecked at a drop of a hat. So we just do some tactical switching here. There we go. So far I've actually survived pretty well without the use of that perk, which is credit to the weapon. I've actually been able to dispatch my foes pretty quickly. Obviously, that starting section against the ghouls was just me being a fucking idiot, but regardless of everything, with that in mind, yeah, doing pretty well. And as you can tell, the reload's nice and quick anyway, and not too fussed about not having those extra 15 bullets when I'm doing that much damage. I prefer to get that little bit of edge damage, because if we can drop Super Mutants in even just one less shot, which I'm pretty sure we might if we were competent enough with our aim, we might as well take that advantage. It's all about ammo efficiency in this game anyway, so if you are saving a couple of rounds here and there on Super Mutants, which where you'd rather wouldn't be if you had a different specific attachment, then what are you doing? Obviously, your ammo supply is going to run out sometime if you don't constantly replenish it, but it's going to be a lot easier for you if you make sure you're doing the most damage possible at all times. It's all about that resource management, which I don't really talk about when it comes to these videos, simply because the iron sights are... Oh, it's this bug where the iron sights are actually not where they should be, but that's okay. I like that bug on this thing because it gets those horrible irons out of your way so you can actually see properly. And we've pulled another legendary. Watch him drop us a 1-star thing, though. It's a 1-star thing. No, I stand corrected, and I get an extra endurance out of that. Yep, so this is a bug that happens sometimes. It's more annoying when you've got a reflex on a weapon, but honestly, don't mind it on a submachine gun. Obviously, we don't get a great reference of where to aim before we shoot, but if we focus into where our crosshairs go, then we can figure it out. Alright, let's get inside here. And this time, instead of... I'm going to open the door, and I'm going to hit S, so I don't have to spam on the old tab button, because that's something I didn't know. And since we put the weapon away and out again, we're back to having the standard iron sights, which... with the sneak attack criticals going, and somehow we're managing to maintain it, much further than I thought, that we're doing pretty well. Also, I discovered this while streaming. If I close this door in this panic room, they can't get to me. And notice how this glass is on the bulletproof side. Well, you could basically shoot out of it like this. You can shoot out of it if you're standing up right next to it. So, yeah. Amaze your friends in PvP with that. Challenge them to PvP inside here and just kill them instantly, basically. You just, as soon as they run around the corner, give a big old shooting, and yeah. Actually, that could be a good way of pranking someone, but now that's out in the ether, Bethesda ought to fix that in like 5 months or so. But let's not be too over-aggressive when it comes to using this thing. We need to be sensible about it. We can't just drop back into sneaky sneak whenever we want. We don't have that shush tube on the end of it. Which, by the way, if we get mod support, that's totally something I'm doing. I'll probably use the 10mm submachine, no, 10mm pistol sounds. Obviously the sounds that it makes when it's semi-auto, I'll just have to deal with the weird sound loops there, but I reckon that would work pretty well. And that was not the super mutant that was legendary. A Ghoul Slayer's rolling pin with limb damage. Called it. Yeah, that's a bug that's going around right now. Kind of an annoying bug because I had an instigating power fist 3-star drop the other day. I got limb damage on it. No, I'd rather swing speed or power attack damage. Those would be much better. Because quite honestly, without those things, this is basically as good as a 1-star thing, which I already had. Also, we done? Yep, we're totally done. So, pretty cruisy run here. Obviously, played it a little bit cautiously because we're unsuppressed, and we managed to deal with our enemies pretty easily. So, onto the Scorch Beast, I suppose. Alrighty, Scorch Beast hunting is a go, and looks like the dudes who live in here haven't shown up today, but looks like we've got a bat, so we'll quickly just attach or grab his aggro for a second. And by the way, the stealth criticals on this won't last for long, so let's make the most of it by attempting to obliterate his health and quickly dodge all of his attacks, desperately try to get some shots on him with just a bit of hip fire there, and quickly dispatch of him. Is that a Radstorm rolling in? You know, they're a lot more common post-patch, I think. I had 4 or 5 in my 13-hour live stream, which is, you know, considering that I've only seen them once or twice preceding that live stream, yeah, we've got some Commonwealth weather rolling in apparently. Now, geographically, I don't know how far the Commonwealth is to West Virginia, because honestly, I'm not the person to look at. Oh, what's it? He dropped out of there with no warning at all. But as the green filter rolls in and we will manage to get a few sneak attack criticals on old mate Scorch Beast, we can do pretty well to kill the rest of these guys. And obviously, as long as they're not punching us with their sickles, you'd fucking call me. I'm glad I shattered you into several million pieces. But yeah, as long as they're not punching us with sledgehammers or melee weapons or unarmed weapons, we can deal with those guys fine, because I haven't found that these guys carry anything deadly in terms of automatic weapons. They're the ones you got to worry about, by the way. And we've hit level 240, isn't that nice? And that's another perk card pack which I won't open until fucking, I don't know, ages, but a nice round number to end off this video. I'm going to get out of this radiation storm quickly so I don't die to rad poisoning, but there you have it. That was a Vampire's Explosive Whaler sub. Now, these things alone, they don't weigh too much. I think they're like 6 pounds around thereabouts. So the Whaler's legendary effect, not great on them. It only shaves it down a little bit with all of these attachments. But 4 pounds for a weapon like this, you can't really argue with that, can you? Obviously, if it was, you know, a weapon to be oriented using that, you'd want that 25% less action points per shot, so you can actually get away with it a little bit more if you're not using unyielding or in bloodied nerd rage threshold. But yeah, as a little bit of a food for thought, maybe the best Vampire's explosive sub will be one with or maybe even extra crit damage and less action point use. But there you have it. Special thanks to Negan for hooking me up with this thing. I'm pretty sure he wants it back now because I've just demonstrated how fucking awesome it is. So yeah, if you want that, go hassle him. Don't talk to me. Thank you very much for watching, guys.